Regan Slaymaker for Not Just Boxing, and I have the pleasure to be joined by Queensbury's Dev Sahni. Dev, just speaking to you off camera, an absolute banger of a fight card we've got on Saturday night, but headlined by one of the best super featherweight super featherweight fights in the world at the moment.
I agree. Let me just rewind a little bit. If you're not just boxing, what else are you? Because I've seen you. I've seen you about popping up, not just boxing, not just boxing. You're only interviewing boxers. So where has this come from?
It is something I do need to differentiate in my game, but the name of the channel, Ashley Fissenden, my boss, he come up with the name. So I'm going to remove any responsibility of the name of the company, but I do need to differentiate away from
Just Boxing.
Just Boxing would, it would go. Also, maybe not just boxers, because yourself, promoters, Adeola, things like that. I was going to say Carl Frampton, but he's very much a boxer, so
very much
we've got to remember that.
But yeah, to talk about the fight, I'm very excited. I'm more excited than ever after seeing that face-off up there. Cacace loves a good face-off, doesn't he? And Lee Wood's up for it. He's game. I'll tell you what surprised me. This is the weigh-in today to timestamp, but what surprised me is the support that Anthony Cacace has brought with him from Belfast. It was almost equal in terms of the noise for Wood and Cacace, and I think that the atmosphere in there tomorrow night is going to be unbelievable, and I think the fight is going to be unbelievable. I think they'll both talk about, we can box, both smart boxers and whatnot. They're going to have a big punch out. That's what it's going to be. I can see it.
They definitely are, and I know Lee Wood is more known from his punching ability than Anthony Cacace, but they can both really crack as well. One thing about Lee Wood as well, how he ever made super bantamweight, I will ever know, because he still looks the same size as Anto Cacace, despite the fact Anto being at the higher weight division for longer as well.
Yeah, I mean, Cacace's been at that weight, I think, forever. I think actually when he first started his career, it might have even been around lightweight, and then he came down. Lee Wood is the one going up. Does it make much difference when it's 4 pounds? I don't know. We're going to find out, and I'm not sure who looked bigger there, to be honest. I think they both look good, and they both look ready for a tear-up.
Definitely. We've spoke about a lot of the fights on the card, but we haven't spoke about the light heavyweight contest. Ezra Taylor just to my left,
the fight.
And Troy Jones.
The fight.
It's a fiery fight as well, and also Louis Edmondson waiting in the wings to defend his titles against the winner.
It's a great little mix, isn't it? You've got 3 unbeaten light heavyweights there. Ezra seems to be the character, seems to have the star power. Troy Jones, he's also got a little bit of star power, and now that I'm getting to know him this week, Louis Edmondson is the guy with the belts, and they can all chat. I love it, and I love what happened yesterday at the press conference where they sort of ganged up on Louis Edmondson, who was on presenting, saying, neither of us rate you, to be honest, Louis. So that was quite funny. In terms of the fight itself, 11-0 versus 12-0. Ezra hasn't put a foot wrong so far. He's looked very powerful, but he hasn't faced anyone like Troy Jones. He hasn't faced anyone who wants it just as much as him, who dedicates his life to the sport, who has worked his way up from the small halls. He's got the same hunger, I think anyway, as Ezra. I put that to Ezra on the stage. He said, no, he ain't as hungry as I am. I can't wait.
It definitely is. It's an absolute cracker as well. But Ezra teaming up with Malik Scott as well. It's nice to have someone with the profile as Malik around a fight week like this. Makes it that little bit bigger. But what do you make of that link up? Obviously, I always like it when Brits go to America. But what do you make of that?
I like it as well. If it's for the right reasons, as long as they're not just going over there for the gram, and taking all these people. And Ezra's done it the right way for me. Ezra's done it in the Amir Khan way, in the Hamza Shiraz kind of way, when Hamza did it, where they're kind of just getting ahead of it. Hamza in particular, he took himself out there before he'd suffered any kind of hardship in his career. He kind of foresaw that if he wanted to really make it, he needed to get around some of this hard sparring, some of these Mexicans just coming to take his head off, which you can't get over here, not so much. I like that Ezra has gone over there. He's been sparring with Alexander Gvozdyk, who's still one of the best light heavyweights in the world, and that's great for him. I like he just went over there on his own as well. I think it points to a mentality where you isolate yourself away from your friends, away from your family. You just want to make it, and he's gone over there to try and make it. Hopefully he can do it.
Definitely as well. I was speaking to him yesterday. I was reading Andy Lee's book, and you have fighters in the cronk when he walked in for the first time screaming fresh meat at him and things like that.
Fresh meat.
It's a better him than me in terms of all those things.
100%.
I want to move on to the wider Queensbury stable. Hamza Shiraz versus Edgar Berlanga.
Oh my God!
What? And also,
oh my God!
What a fight that is, by the way.
Edgar Berlanga's massive. You see when they did their face-off, I know like Hamza still, he towers over everyone. He's still looking down at Edgar Berlanga. But you remember Edgar Berlanga against Canelo, and he came in so big, like on fight night, he was huge. I don't think Hamza will have ever seen anything like this before. So it's a big step up. It's not against like a middleweight going up kind of thing in Berlanga. It's a big, it's probably a light heavyweight boiling down. So let's see how Hamza deals with that. I love the fight. It's deep water. I don't know who the favourite is, but it feels like surely you make Berlanga the favourite. Surely. I mean, he's been in there with Canelo and whatnot. He acquitted himself well. Surely as the bigger guy. But Hamza, he's got something special about him. And he's also got a bit of a bee in his bonnet right now. He's not happy with how he performed necessarily in his last fight. It's lit a fire in him, and I can't wait to see this fire unleashed on Edgar Berlanga.
Definitely. I think it was his interview with Boxing King Media. I mean, he feels like he's got a bit, like he didn't have a point to prove already, but he's got more of a point. I feel like, from his own admission, I think some people in his life who he thought were going to support him didn't after his loss to Adames and things like that. It always happens. But teamed up with Andy Lee now, I think he wants to prove a lot of doubters who believed in him wrong on July the 12th.
Listen, he's been doing it a fair bit in his career. I remember when he first started, I think he went 4, maybe even 6 fights or so with maybe 1 knockout. And he was just like this tall, skinny kid. And I remember like he was on at Brentwood Centre and that, and there was nothing to suggest at that point, for me anyway, because he didn't have much amateur pedigree. And he wasn't knocking guys out. He was just this kind of beanpole guy coming along boxing people.
Yeah.
And then suddenly, he's just turned into this monster. And I'm all the way here for it. But he's had to prove people wrong along the way. There's no way Shiraz can acquit himself against these guys. And he does keep doing it. So, once again, his back is going to be against the wall. And I think that suits him. That suits him down to the ground. I think it works with a lot of fighters. When you tell someone you can't do something, you're not good enough, you're not going to make it, sometimes it just makes you want it so much more.
Definitely is, and also other fighters with I think a bit of a chip on their shoulder and a point to prove. Not that he needs to. The small matter of Daniel Dubois going into a rematch against Alexander Usyk. I mean, I said this to Frank at the launch press conference. Do you think Daniel Dubois ultimately pissing off Alexander Usyk is going to work in favour for him or against him on July the 19th?
It might not make any difference whatsoever.
It's one of those ones, isn't it?
It feels like if there was one fighter in the world that you can't get in his head, right, people would probably say Usyk. And you'd say because Tyson Fury tried a couple of times at pressers and didn't get anything out of him. That's what you'd point to. And Tyson Fury's the master of the mind games, which we've seen over the years. But this time we did see something different from Usyk. He was in a position, he sat at the top table. He's got Don Charles over there calling him a cheat, calling him a con man, saying he conned the public. He's got George Fox shouting out from the crowd, also calling him a cheat, saying that it was a body shot, all of this kind of stuff. And he's got Daniel Dubois sat over there saying that he's going to make his legs do a funny dance on July 19th. This is all new stuff. And, hey, he had to react. He had to talk a little bit. He had to almost end that press conference prematurely. Maybe he was uncomfortable. Maybe he didn't like it. Maybe it will make a difference. I don't know.
It definitely is as well. Do you think we'll see... obviously, I saw your tweet of the run of form Daniel's going into this one. Do you think we definitely see a different Daniel Dubois on July the 19th?
Yeah, he's just a new guy. Like, and that tweet about the run of form was, like, it's quite literally his 3 best wins heading into the first fight with Usyk were Nathan Gorman, Kevin Lerena, and Trevor Bryan. And now, heading into the second fight, his 3 best wins are Anthony Joshua, Filip Hrgovic and Jarrell Miller. 2 of those fighters are unbeaten, or were unbeaten until Daniel got hold of them, by the way. So he's a different guy, he's got a newfound confidence. Even when they faced off at that press conference, right? Tell it's different. Put the 2 face-offs side by side to when they actually fought. And there's just like, there's a confidence in the eyes of Dubois. There's a kind of, I'm the man now. I ain't some little boy that you're going to come and, you know, box up like you probably think you are. I'm a man now, and Wembley Stadium is where I do my business. So I like that energy from him.
It definitely is as well. It's a massive, massive fight, and I'm looking forward to it. No undercard announced yet. No, I'm not going to pry anything, Dev, but what I want, one fight, fantasy fight that you'd want to see is the co-main event to Alexander Usyk versus Daniel Dubois.
I'm not going to do that, just because I actually don't know what the card is, and if I did, I'd probably drop a little, like, oh, maybe X against this guy, and then kind of like, but I don't know. I'd imagine whatever Frank puts on is going to be chef's kiss.
It definitely is, and I look forward to it. Dev Sahni, always a pleasure catching up. Thank you very much.
You too, mate.
Cheers,
Not just
mate.
boxing, yeah?
Not just boxing.
Just boxing.
Exactly.
Just boxing.
That's the one.